Okay, gave it a little bit of time. More people even came in, which is great. I'm sure more will file in. Just to let everybody know, this will be recorded, is being recorded. So anybody that's registered will get a follow-up email. Obviously, additional information on there. You'll also get a recording link. You can reference this. Also, multiple times you'll see my contact information. Please feel free to get that recorded. So that way, when we do our Q&A, which is at the end, which, by the way, there is two areas you can type in. One is chat, and one is actually questions. So please make sure if you have an actual question you want to address when we do at the end, type it in there. If you guys want to do chat back and forth, it's totally fine. But again, there's two different areas for that. So topic, meet NovaBACKUP Cloud. For some of you, you are very familiar with our offering already, NovaBACKUP, maybe even some of our other products, and I'm going to just touch on those lightly here in a sec. But we want to introduce you guys to the NovaBACKUP Cloud. Some of you already maybe have been introduced to it. It's a good refresher. For those that have not, this will be a great introduction to it, and also hopefully an encouragement for you guys to reach out to us afterward to get more information, maybe help grow your business. But let's jump in. So first, about me, not as scary as the picture looks, so don't be scared to reach out to me at any point in time. My name's Adam Stufflick, and I've been working with MSPs full-time probably the last 12 years, and then even before that, I worked for an MSP. So I know your guys' day-to-day lives. I know what most want from attending shows, from talking to you guys on the phone, IRL meetups and things like that. Listening to what makes your guys' lives easier or what you would want to make them easier. So I don't know everything. I don't have answers for everything, but I have answers for a lot of things. And that's what I would love to talk with you guys about. So again, my information is right here. You can reach out to me anytime you want. You can call me, email. There's even a live chat on our system as well. And you guys will notice that too, our webpage, for those that have visited throughout the years. There's a big facelift that we did, well overdue, but I think it's perfect timing as well. And you'll see it's a little bit more friendly, a little more laid back feel to it, and more information about what we do, especially the cloud. So about NovaStor, for those that are not familiar with us or maybe just heard the name a little bit here and there, here's a little bit of a breakdown about us. So over a decade of backup expertise, I think that's being even shortened a little bit. I think it's even longer. That's being kind. I think we have a lot more, and not just in the face of NovaStor, but the people that fill that building that you're looking at right there. There is a ton of people inside there with multiple years of experience in the backup, the technical, the sales, the business, I mean, you name it. And we are always more than happy to try to share our knowledge with you guys to either make transitions easier, make the new jump into the MSP, the reseller, anything like that to make that move more simple for you guys. And again, we're always open for communications like that. Global coverage, that is not just only our presence, right, with our offices being in the States, also in Germany and Switzerland, but global coverage in the customers. Even the people showing up today, I know there's some people, one from Brazil, there's one from Canada, we have Mexico, US, I mean, you name it, they're all over. So global coverage is kind of a two-sided deal there. The product that we're going to talk about the most today, or really kind of solely today, is the NovaBACKUP Cloud, and also along with our other product, which is Active Archive, or what we refer to as EDM, and we'll talk about that in a sec. But it is all US-based dev and support in-house. So it's really nice when you guys reach out to us. You know who you're going to be talking to. You get familiar with us, which is great. And then taking suggestions, or, hey, you know, have you guys thought about doing it this way? These are things we can respond to and respond to very easily. And that's what makes it nice, because everything's in-house and it's under our control. Industry experts. We're going to toot our own horn a little bit here, but you see a lot of the people nowadays going into multiple different avenues, right? Similar companies maybe to NovaStor that deal solely with backup, but maybe they moved into the net security and other types of options. And what we decided is we're going to stick in our lane because we know what we're doing. Like I said, we've been around a long time and dealing solely with backup. And that kind of transitions into the phase here of how we can actually deliver the product to you guys with absolute confidence. And what that does is translates down to your customers, because if we're delivering it to you and getting you familiarized with the content and getting you confident, then that confidence relays down to your customers. And that just helps close deals faster, period. I mean, I don't know, you guys have probably been on the floors just as much as I have and talking with people, and you get a feeling of when you're talking with that particular person that how they feel about their company or how confident they are with their particular product. And you pick up on that stuff, and your customers will pick up on that stuff. So again, being able to deliver that with absolute confidence. Where we're coming live to you today from is actually the U.S. headquarters in Agora Hills. So if any of you guys are in the neighborhood ever, reach out to us. Stop by, whether it's just to say hey or talk about business or whatever it is. We'd more than happy to have lunch with you or something and talk. So I mentioned we do have different solutions in-house, but the ones we're going to focus on today are on the right-hand side there, the NovaBACKUP Cloud and the EDM, or Active Archive, if you've heard about it before. And we do, again, I'll just touch on the other ones here to the left. The NovaBACKUP product, which some are probably familiar with. If not, it's a great endpoint solution for your servers, your PCs, whether you have plug-in data, your local and offsite capabilities, it's great. Your enterprise level stuff is data center. So whenever I hear about data center in-house, I immediately think of unlimited, meaning the fact of how big it can scale. Taking advantage of these high-end devices that you've already invested in, these huge loaders, multiple drives, really expensive SANs, being able to really push it to their limits and make use of what you've already invested in. So these are a couple products. If you guys are interested, give us a buzz, but also keep your ear to the rail, or ear to the ground rather, on future webinars for those. But today, NovaBACKUP Cloud, and also encapsulating the EDM product as well. So why NovaBACKUP Cloud for MSPs? And some of you that are just pure resellers too, don't think this is not for you, but maybe what we're trying to do is also allow you to be more competitive in the market, maybe transition into the MSP realm. Not make it so hard, right? Like some people think it takes a lot of work to transition from a reseller into an MSP, or to jump in to actually be an MSP, or how am I going to grow it? How much money am I going to have to invest right away? There's all these things, which makes sense, right? It's a business, it's your livelihood and what puts food on the table. So they're, valid questions, but they always don't have to be such a difficult answer. So what we're trying to do is make the transition for you guys as easy as possible. Don't fall behind, right? The trend right now is the trend that we're moving into with our MSPs, which is more of the subscription-based model. Taking away that huge upfront cost that a lot of people can't do or don't want to do. They might have the capital, but why sink it all into the beginning and then try to speed and make it up as fast as you can, where we want to introduce more of a pay-as-you-go or pay-as-you-grow model with you guys. So that way you can also transition that to your customers to make that more affordable and don't have to, scare them with some big shock sticker price to try to make up your guys' investment. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. Not directly about the pricing, but how we're doing the subscription model. So obviously per installation, and then so much money per gig. And again, encourage you guys to reach out to me with my contact information. We'll get deeper diving into that type of stuff while we're talking. So making it easier for you guys to roll out. So a lot of times right now with a lot of people, the standard stuff is perpetual. They're used to a license model where they have to keep track of all these different licenses somewhere and putting into a client and then worrying about a renewal and then all this stuff. So we're trying to make this a little bit less worry-free. Turning it into the model again with the subscription model, where all the licensing is held from the hosted storage server, whether it's you guys hosting it or us. And we'll talk more on that. But again, making less overhead, making it easy for you don't have to have such a big team. And that involves, making sure who's doing what and when, and that's going to involve our central monitoring, which we'll talk more on that too. So lots of things that we're trying to introduce to you guys to not make it so scary. One thing that's a little bit off script right now, and the web person, don't be scared. It's nothing big. But I just saw this. It's on Snippet. I have it here. Hold on. But you can see this here. Customer wants me to become an MSP. I just pulled this off of Reddit. Now, this is totally ad hoc, so I apologize. But you can see here, this particular person is completely lost. I just grabbed a snippet of it, and there's a big thread of it on Reddit MSP realm. You guys are probably familiar with that, maybe not. But anyways, this person's like, what do I do? I'm totally lost. They wanted me to become an MSP, but it doesn't have to be that hard. The things I mentioned right now and how we're going to aid you guys in that will take away that fear of making it so hard. So again, thanks for showing up here, and let's get into it even further. So top benefits for you guys are a little bit of options, right? To not always stick someone in like a certain avenue or a certain, what I would say like box or bucket is always a good thing. So we have 3 different options of cloud, and I kind of just hinted on that in last slide. So you guys will actually be able to pick from 3 different cloud options with the 2 offerings we have. So we have a NovaStor hosted solution, and that solution is in our own, fully qualified data center that we have. You guys can choose that. Or there's also a self-hosted option, which you guys can do. So maybe you have already invested in, the storage rack, the actual storage itself, and all that stuff. And you guys can be your own point of cloud, right? And the other option, which involves the EDM product, is even object storage capable. So, man, I don't know how many of them are right now, but obviously the big ones like Backblaze, Wasabi, AWS, Azure, things like that, those are all valid locations where you can point data to. So you do have some options there. We talked about the pay-as-you-go model. This is a really great model for the up-and-coming or the brand new or the people that want to maybe transition into MSP from reseller. Is this pay-as-you-go, or I like to call it pay-as-you-grow. No huge upfront costs. That goes away. So the fear of like, man, how much money are we going to have to dump into this? Well, hardly any. So that's a big plus for you guys. Compliances. This is huge, and it's going to keep getting bigger, and it's going to keep getting forced on more and more types of businesses. So being able to meet the different, because if you look at some of these compliances, we could break it up like a pie. You're talking about, the encryption. You're talking about where it's being saved, both local, offsite. How long do I have to keep it? How fast can I access it, right? All these pieces of the pie, and we're trying to fill that pie up for you, that pie plate, with all the pieces, right? So there's no, we want to avoid you to have to say, no, we can't, or no, we don't offer that. I mean, it just sucks to say no, and we're trying to allow you guys to not have to say no, excuse me. The other part of it is the remote central monitoring. This comes with both solutions, so it's great. It's a web-based tool that you can log into and provide a complete overview of what's going on out there. Basically structuring your users into groups, organizational units, controlling that, making things easier for you and your techs. Like, that's the big thing, right? Again, you don't have to have a huge team, or you shouldn't have to have a huge team to be an MSP, right? We're trying to make things easier, give that single pane view, which I know some of you might have just cringed because I said that, but that's what it is. It's a keyword, it's out there, just like ransomware. But that's what we're providing you guys. We're giving you a tool to jump in, to make life easier, to organize everything, and have a single point where you guys can say, hey, what's that guy doing? How much are they using? And what are they costing me? Being able to tag them with certain different types of names and things like that as well. And I'll show you guys that coming up here, because I'm going to show you inside the CMON, as I think that's one of the most important things to see. Now, this is just basically like a graphical representation of things that we can offer. You're in the middle there. You're not sure maybe where you need to go or where you want or who I can offer this service to. Well, it's just about anybody. Whether it's a certain vertical or if it's like that proverbial spider web that you guys are shooting out there and grabbing all these different types of customers or potential customers, it's up to you. And like I said, you have capabilities and options that you can offer, that you can go after. You can use one of our solutions. You can use all of them. It does not matter. And the cool part about it, like I said, we'll help you. You call in, we'll set up a time, we'll carve out as much time as we need to make sure you're comfortable, your team's comfortable, and that you're making the right choice. All right, so key features. Now, when we're talking about delivery, right, I talked about us delivering to you and you delivering to your customers. So this is actually a nice thing. Like, what am I going to tell my customers to try to get them in the door, right? To try to, or rather get your foot in their door. Granular restore capabilities. So a lot of people can do it, yes, sure, but the fact that you can pick and choose and how easy that is to do is the nice thing. We have a couple different ways that you can achieve the restores. Obviously, you got your local, you got your offsite, you got your image capabilities. So being able to pick and choose how you want to restore, where you want to restore, and where do you want to even put it, like on your network, I mean. So do you want to do original location, alternate location? These are things you can decide. The level of encryption, like again, going back to the industry regulations, the compliances, or even just personal preferences, these are things that you can relay to them. You know, like we go all the way up to 256-bit AES. These are things, again, industry standards. Restoring critical data in minutes. That goes back to what I just previously talked about. Following that 3-2-1 rule, I mean, that's out there for a reason, right? I mean, obviously, I would even increase the numbers myself, but 3-2-1 is the standard. Being able to restore locally quickly, or if everything happens or a failure of, you know, whatever it might be happens, you can got the cloud as a backup tool. So don't put all your eggs in one basket type of deal. Have your backups in multiple locations, you know, and relay that to them. They shouldn't either, right? I mean, this is technically an insurance policy for them to save them money. Support for MSSQL, Exchange, your virtual machines. This is another great thing. There is no level that you guys have to worry about in regards to, well, what level of product am I going to get? Or you don't have to worry. Every single installation that you guys are going to do on this particular cloud model, as soon as it reaches the cloud storage device, again, whether it's you or us, it unlocks itself fully. So you have full support for those particular plugins. All right. Protection against ransomware. Yes, the scare word that's out there, but it's rightfully so because it's spreading, and I bet we deal with it multiple times a day talking to our MSPs. It's actually pretty crazy. Being able to have them even be a backup to their security, right? Because sometimes I think these guys get a false sense of security just because they have an AV software or because they have a hardware device that might be sitting up front catching pretty much the majority of it, right? You know, 99% even caught. But what happens if the 1% gets through, end user clicks a link, it happens. You guys know it better than probably most. So having your backup to actually be a backup to your security is a great thing too, right? Everything fails at one point or another, right? So having the backup there to be able to recover, avoid sending these people the money that they want, even though they're probably not going to give you the key for it. So it's a great tool for that. And then perfect solution for these certain types of verticals that are out there. And it's crazy. Right now, the dental thing is just off the hook. It's something that's blowing up. Hopefully you guys can jump on the train. But the other ones, you know, don't leave them behind either. Healthcare, education, accounting places, I mean, realty places, all these things that you guys can dive into. It's great for these people. Small footprints on their machines, no boots, you know, reboots required. These are things that they like to know, right? Because how many times have you guys probably called your customer and say, I have to install something or do something, and the first thing out of their mouth is, how long am I going to be down? Well, it's pretty cool the fact that you'd say, well, you know what, like 2 minutes, I just need your machine. You're not going to be down. You're not, you know, I just need to get your machine real quick, install the software. It's so fast. Again, it's very lightweight. For those that have installed the NovaBACKUP product, it's that quick. So again, a couple features here. There's obviously more. There might be some things I don't even touch on that, again, throw them into the questions. Let me know. I can address them at the end. Or, you know, like I said, reach out to me and we can talk further. So how does it work? I am going to bring up a RDP session, and I'm going to show you guys the CMON. That's just one of the central monitoring portals that you can get. Remember, the EDM product also has its own portal. If you're interested, though, again, let me know. We can get you guys different types of trials out there. So here we are. This is the CMON portal for you guys. As you can see, first time that you open this up, or any time really that you open this up, you're going to be presented with a dashboard. And you're going to have all your clients on there. You're going to have what's going on, what's the latest, nice little charts over here on who's doing what and when. And it's not just offsite. I know we're focusing on the cloud to really open up people's businesses and things, but you also have existing customers that you got to care about. Maybe they're already doing locals, and that's fine. They can still check in here. You can still monitor their backups, whether it's local or offsite. You can still organize them how you see fit, as you can see over here on my agents and groups tab. It's everything broken up rather by groups. So you can see here where you can really make it clean. Now, obviously, I have all these expanded out, so it's not like super clean, but it can be. And you can drag and drop. You can name, like if I actually double click on any one of these entries, you can go in here and make notes. You can see their job histories, access their logs. You could do a ton of stuff from here. Again, you don't have to get into the client to figure out what's going on. We want to avoid that because that's a time waster. And that's one of the big fears as well, is like, how much time are my guys going to waste, or am I going to have to hire another guy just to do this? Well, no, you don't have to. If you utilize the tools that we give you, and again, and this is included, it's nothing extra or anything like that on top. So a couple different things I want to show you is, how are you guys going to know what's going on if you're not in this? Well, you can also set up different types of notifications for you guys, and you could do it based upon, well, lots of different things. You could do it based upon the groups. You can do it per agent. You can do it all the groups. I mean, there's all different ways that you can organize this. You can do job statuses, started, failed. You can, maybe I don't want it when warnings or stopped or started. I mean, you can see here, I can click an X and pick and choose whatever I want. When do you want them? All the time, immediately, once a day. I mean, you name it. You can pretty much customize this as you see fit. All right. And then how do I set up a client? This would be one thing. Now, we talked about it, but this is how easy it is. So before you're used, some of you guys that are already resellers and things, you're used to installing the software. You got to go in there and put the key in. You got to do all this stuff. And then down the road, you got to worry about renewing it. Well, here, this is how easy it would be. I go into cloud storage accounts, and I simply hit new cloud storage account. What I'm doing here is creating a username password that's going to be automatically created on the cloud storage server, whether it's on our side being the hosted solution or on your side being the hosted solution. And that's what allows them to hook into the storage server and get their license. That's it. You put that in. At that point, it's going to test. It's going to make sure it can connect. It's going to pull down a license and unlock the software. We're trying to make it as easy as possible for you guys to do, and I think we've achieved that. And again, these are things that we'll walk your team through. We'll train them and get you guys comfortable with that stuff. Being able to create different types of user logins is 100% what you guys can do as well, especially guys that are going to choose to even be self-hosted. This is a really nice feature where you can even provide your customers a login. You can restrict them. Obviously, you don't want them to do a lot of stuff, but maybe you want them to be able to see things. You could do that too. That's an added value, right? That's something that's like, you know what, customer, I'll do that for free. We throw that in. You get your own portal, right? Lay it on them. Like, make it look even better than it already is. So these are different things that, again, you guys will have access to. I wanted just to show you this. I didn't want to get super deep into it. We've even done another webinar completely about CMON that you guys can reference as well and take more of a look at that. So back to this. So use cases, some people are going to be like, well, what customer is perfect for this, or who, what's some examples? And, sure, I've mentioned verticals and things like that, but use cases that I've come across recently that either one, I was like, whoa, I didn't think about that, or two, like, wow, this is working amazing for these guys. The one I mentioned is the dental. I'm not going to mention the company name, but you would probably recognize it. And however, the control that they have over all these backups, the way that they're rolling this out, the capabilities that they're issuing down to their customers is awesome. I mean, they got their local solution, they got an offsite solution. They say, hey, you know what? Here's a peace of mind. We have a portal. We're able to monitor everything. We're able to set up triggers and notifications. So don't worry, right? Focus on your business. Keep checking those teeth and whatever else they're doing, and focus on that. So it's a real great solution for them. They're using the CMON to its full potential. I mean, which is great. I mean, that's what we want you to do. Try to make the work as easy as possible for you guys. So that's the one on the MSP side of things. Obviously, we can go into many, many use cases, but that's just one that really stands out to me. Remote workforce. You can take remote here quite literally if you want, and apply it to who I call road warriors. And I'm sure you guys have them, or maybe you are them. So these people that are out in the field, they're working like an insurance agency, for example, taking pictures, updating forms, writing, all these different things that they're doing. And they put 10 to 12 hours of work in a day, and why risk losing that, right? That's just costing the company money. So the next time that they go into like a Starbucks, they go back to their hotel room, they go back to McDonald's or wherever Wi-Fi is enabled, which is virtually everywhere, they can push that work that they did up. Especially how our technology works with the offsite, it's even more beneficial because with our offsite tool, we don't have to submit full files every time, just the first time. After that, you're talking about small incremental block levels. So if someone added a paragraph to a document, we're just backing up the paragraph. So you can see how nice this is, even for people with slower uploads or like people that are on the road, like we just talked about. It's a great solution. The other option, talking about how efficient the cloud storage device is a large manufacturing company that we have is actually utilizing the cloud storage for more of a LAN backup. So I call it a campus. It's huge. They have multiple endpoints, and they were trying to figure out, well, how are we going to efficiently back up everybody to this local device, right? Trying to make life easier for them, which is the whole point of really anybody. So instead of them having to perform, weekly fulls or monthly fulls or whatever they chose, and then, supplement those with incrementals or differentials in between, they use that cloud storage device, and they just have their cloud storage device in like a, obviously in their server room. So everybody's using that for their backups, but it makes it so efficient because, again, the backup windows are so small because of the deltas that are being processed and not the full files that they can back it up more aggressively too, which should be a thing now. The once-a-day backup it's better than nothing, but to lose all those hours of work that you're doing, just to me, it doesn't make sense. So they are backing up more aggressively. They're able to more efficiently have a retention rule, which they don't have to worry about appends or overwrites or none of that fun stuff. All that stuff is controlled on the storage server. So again, they've made their life easier, still securing all the data and everything adequately. And again, I think it's just a really great solution rather of using that cloud storage, but they're using it in-house. Again, I just wanted to point out those. I think those are the most that stick out to me for use cases. Obviously, there's a lot more, but again, I think those are the ones that stand out the most to me. So some of my data protection tips. A lot of times I see people implementing backups, and it's great, but they're not doing it smart. One of them being, so we talked about the capabilities of the NovaBACKUP Cloud product, right? You got your offsite, you got your local capabilities and everything like that. So talking a little bit about their local solution is NAS devices, right? They're easy, they're cheap, they're a great solution for hosting data, but they seem to implement this device and then they open it up to the world, right? Because it's easy, right? And why mess around with all these permissions? Well, when they get ransomware, and then they find out why they should have implemented it more smart. So the cool part about our software is that on the device tab, not only can you obviously add the cloud storage device there, but you can add network devices inside there. And you can lock your NAS device down completely, but when you add that device to our device tab, you are actually able to just implement specific credentials to gain access to that. So, it's about taking a step back. How are you going to implement these things? And to me, that's one tip that I can't suggest enough. And also another tip for me, and personally, I mentioned it just on the last screen, was be a little bit more aggressive with backups too. The once a day is great, but the software has so much more capability with that. The control, the retention, the scheduling, all that stuff can be really tailored to each customer's needs. And like I said, there's no more standard 8 to 5. People work 12 hours, 13 hours or more. Just securing that 1 hour of work, it's awesome, right? Instead of maybe that end of day and you're going to lose 12, 10 hours of work. So just a tip for me. The other one here is huge, in my opinion. I think a lot of people overlook this, is building your own BDR. There's a lot of people out there that offer a BDR solution. It's expensive. They're forcing certain types of appliances on you. With our product, though, what we're doing is allowing you to use a device that you've already invested in. One device that comes to mind, and this is because we have a great relationship with them for many, many years, is Buffalo. They have a Windows storage device that actually that CMON I showed you is living on that. The storage server is living on that as well. So that device, obviously, when it comes to our world, is huge. I mean, it's the scalability for that thing is crazy. But building your own BDR. So getting a device similar to that has Windows storage server on it. Not only are you going to be using that for a straight, storage place where you can actually store the data in your backups locally, but you can also use the imaging tool from our software to dump that to either a bare metal, which is totally fine because you can boot it up, you can use the bare metal, or you can dump it to a VHDX format. So that means, one, you have a Windows storage device now that's running Windows Server that can have a hypervisor on there, such as Hyper-V, and then boot that up there. So at that point, you have had a very cost-affordable solution for these people, something that maybe they thought they never could have. And that's what you also got to is educate these people too, right? And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that in a good way. They don't, everybody doesn't know everything. So telling them they can have an affordable solution, also a solution that you guys can invest in your own and not forced into a one-way street. You can use this device for tons of stuff, right? The BDR, a storage server location, a straight storage point. I mean, there's so many things that you can do. And so building your own BDR with our software, totally doable. And again, I think it's such a huge value that you guys can offer your customers at a very low cost. All right, so in conclusion, this whole time, basically what we're trying to do is make you guys realize for the total cost of ownership, how much we can actually reduce that. It doesn't have to be expensive to be an MSP. It just don't. Maybe in the days of past, sure. Being worried about the upfront costs, the other overhead that you have to do. What am I going to use for monitoring? How am I going to do that? I mean, all these things can be answered. We help you do this through this software package, through a subscription model. So you don't have to have the big upfront costs. You don't, even the subscription model itself, you're like, well, yeah, but how expensive? It's not expensive. And this is something that you can get into. We'll talk about it. And these are things I hope you guys reach out to me, that we talk more on how we can get you into this program, how easy it is, and how cost affordable. It's really cost effective. Being able to pick up and stay with the times, right? You don't want to fall behind, because right now, obviously, and you guys know this, they can go to Google, they can go to any social platform and look up MSPs and backups and things like that, and there's hundreds and thousands out there. So we want to make you competitive. We want to make it so you guys don't have to say no, or no, we can't do that, or no, we don't offer that. Again, no one likes saying that at all. So these are things we want to offer you guys: a hybrid backup solution where you got cloud and local capable, a great monitoring solution as well, that you guys will get thrown in with the package, nothing extra, and yeah, have that all-in-one solution for your customer. Okay, so we are at the Q&A part. We have had a couple questions come in during that time. So I'll give it like a minute for anybody that wants to go ahead and throw in some additional. We'll start on the questions that already came in, and then we'll work with that. So I'm going to also, at this point, leave this up part here where you guys can actually see my credentials, my contact information, things like that. So you'll be able to reference that. So we got one thing about the network device. The credentials on the device level works, but the retention jobs don't. It shouldn't be a problem. It's just a matter of writing or overwrite. So depending on what you're using for the actual username password, it should allow that to happen on that device. And each device obviously is going to have different capabilities for the credentials. So it's just a matter of how you implement it and set it up. We have a great team in-house too. We can help you guys with that. Just let us know, because again, there's so many devices out there. Maybe it just takes a tweak on the device you added, or permissions on the device need to be tweaked too. So you mentioned about the Active Archive, or what you call the Enterprise Data Management Tool. Can you talk a little more on that? Yeah, I can. So the main focus here was to basically, what offerings can we make, like giving you guys the local and offsite capability. So the Active Archive tool, or what we refer to as EDM, and the reason why we call it EDM, the Enterprise Data Management, because it is a little bit more of a management capability. It's actually Windows and Linux based, which is great. You can tag your data as it comes in. So if you guys are dealing with any specific realm of data or forms or things like that that have repetitive sequences, you can categorize those, making it easier for you to have a searchable restore as well. So because you can restore and search in specific organizations or that you guys are tagging, right? Still also has a web portal interface where you guys can oversee, you can organize, you can set up policies for backup jobs. So a great tool as well. This is actually a great question too. How long can data be stored? This is what I love answering. As long as you want. A lot of people, and this is what I hear for pushbacks too. This is actually a really great question. And I won't go too long on it, but there's a lot of solutions out there that I get told like, hey, these people are way cheaper than you, which is rare, but it happens. And then all of a sudden I say, you know what, let's do a little bit more research into why. So we go on there, and also some of these guys are saying, well, the longest you can keep data is 30 days. I'm like, okay, well, that's not good. Without my answer to you, long as you want to keep it. You have people out there that are going to need to already need it, right, 7 years, and I think that's going to probably increase to 10 years. And then there's also people with personal preferences for literally infinity. And that's fine. You can do that. You can have data stored with any of our solutions as long as you want. Local, obviously, as well, offsite. But that's the cool thing. From customer to customer, you can tailor this. We're not putting you into any specific avenue and sticking you guys there. Each customer's needs are going to be different, especially you guys are not dealing with just verticals. Verticals, yeah, that's pretty straightforward. You pretty much know what you're getting into. The guys that I mentioned before that are shooting out that proverbial spider web, you guys might have all different types of preferences or regulations that you guys got to abide by. So yeah, Robert, yes, you totally can. So if you want something from 2 weeks ago, you can do that. You want something from 2 hours ago, 2 years ago, 3 months, you name it. That's completely up to you. And not only can you restore it to original, you can do an alternate location as well, which sometimes a lot of time you want to do so you're not overriding production or risk overriding certain things. And it's all granular, like I mentioned before, files, folder, whatever you want to do. Yeah, good questions. Yeah. So again, yeah, it doesn't matter. So however frequently your backup happened, that's where you can restore from. And we have two actual restore interfaces inside the actual NovaBACKUP software. One is the more, I don't want to call it just techie because just about anybody can do that, where you can actually set certain date and time frames and everything like that. But there's also a slider on there. You can switch backup modes, and you'll see that as you use the product. There's a slider, and you can move that slider back and forth and take it to whatever time frame you wanted. So yeah, 2 weeks, 15 minutes, 1 hour, you have that capability. And that's the nice part about that is you can structure each person's retention time frame to whatever you guys see fit. Is the product like NovaBACKUP BE, which is Business Essentials for some of you guys that don't know the NovaBACKUP product? That's the highest level of NovaBACKUP that supports all the plugins like I mentioned. So your MSSQL, your Exchange, your virtual environments. So this is the cool part about it. Yeah, as soon as you install NovaBACKUP Cloud, you guys are going to have your own EXE that as soon as you also install it, it checks into your guys' CMON, which is cool. So as soon as that connects to the storage server, again, yours or ours, it will unlock itself on a level of BE. So if that machine has SQL on it, you get SQL. If it has Exchange, you get Exchange. Or virtual environments, so VMware Hyper-V, you can back those up. So yeah, that's the nice part about it. You don't have to gauge a customer really anymore per se on what they have on their machine, if it's going, or like what level you're going to need from us, like server, BE, or PC. That's the cool part. You don't have to worry about that anymore. You don't have to worry about the keys anymore. Once someone has touched the storage server, that's it. It's unlocked and ready to go. If you lose that customer, they close their business, to recoup that is really nice because all you're really doing is, first of all, obviously you say, hey, do you want your data? If they don't want it or anything and you free up the license, that's it, that's gone. That particular cost per license is now out. So it's really easy dealing with the onboarding or the outboarding, which hopefully that's not happening, but it does happen. I mean, we're just being real. So yeah. Can you do the DR image backup to the cloud? You can. So basically what you would do is do our local image to whatever folder that you want to put it on, and then do the cloud backup, make sure the cloud backup is backing up that image. And the cool thing is, if that is named the same every time, which it should be, you then can push that offsite and take advantage of the fast bidding technology that we have, so it doesn't have to push the full image every time either. So yeah, definitely. Again, there's lots of questions. Guys, just because I did not answer your question also doesn't mean I didn't like it. You can also reach out to me directly. You have my email right there, adam.stufflike@novastor.com. You can call me, and I'll be more than happy to talk over questions or concerns or anything like that, guys. Please give me a holler. Pay attention in the future for our different emails and notifications, our websites for updates and webinars, and we also release like these little tips and tricks and emails as well too that I think a lot of people overlook. So again, let us know if you guys need anything. I appreciate everybody showing up today. A great turnout, and hopefully we'll be talking on the phone soon. Thanks a lot, everybody. Have a great one.